Corpsepaint Show welcomes you. Let's recap our last 2 weeks of fun with Janie Slash and Satan. Our punk correspondent, Janie Slash, went to Los Angeles and saw the Misfits in Inglewood at the Forum and Alkaline Trio as well. Yes, it was Danzig, it was Jerry Only, it was Doyle, Dave Lombardo on drums, and AC Slade on second guitar.
Did you go or did I go?
We're going to get a report from our punk correspondent in a moment. There's a couple of quick picks. We are a community show. The metal community, the horror community, the dark wave community, the burlesque and sideshow community with a healthy dose of grotesque imagery and Satanism. We are the underground, and that's where we want you to be. After all, we are in Dallas, Texas, USA. Our country is one nation, underground. Let me tell you why. When you're in the mainstream, you get Disney, you get Trump, you get endless repeat of Bon Jovi on the soundtrack. You get mass-marketed fast food and Fox News. That's where you go when you do not want to think. And when you don't think, you collapse into a ball of malleable consumer identification numbers so you can be encouraged to overspend and overeat. You see, the mainstream, Janie, has limits, rules of behavior, and restrictions. The mainstream tries to embed a certain set of assumptions in the landscape. They're subtle and they creep up on you, just the way those Christians creep towards the cross. And they want us to follow them like lemmings. But that is not you, because you are smart. When you are in the underground, you may have to fight harder for your expression, but you get to be you. No corporate overlord saying, hey, don't put that in your movie, don't put that in your song, holding fast to satanic tenets such as act with compassion, freedom of others to should be respected, and scientific understanding of the world. Join us if you dare. But if you don't, that's perfectly okay as well. Tune in when you can. If you are appalled, watch us safely from YouTube. Every single show we have, every single word we've ever said is there. Why not start with the episode titled, Does Sign Language Work for Music? No, it's not just a bunch of air guitar. Our ASL certified guest explains. The YouTube channel is The Corpsepaint Show. Welcome, Janie Slash.
Oh, welcome. Thank you.
That was my long rant. Hey,
I noticed.
It's good to be back in our cool bunker studio.
Yeah, we had a couple weeks off.
And with the threat of nuclear war ever approaching, I feel safer than ever here in our Dallas bunker.
I had to use a goat to leave down the microphone.
So
it would stay in place.
Let's talk about some cool things we have coming up in future shows, can we?
Yeah, let's talk about it. I know we got some exciting things in store.
Yeah. First off, we have next week now,
yes,
Emily from Born Without Religion.
Yes.
Okay? She made a YouTube video on Blasphemy Day where she burned a Bible. And we're going to talk to Emily. She's kind of been out of the picture a little while. We're bringing her back. We're going to talk to her. That's next week on the 14th. We'll be speaking with Emily live. So she made this badass video on Blasphemy Day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just watch just a little snippet.
These are some things that I believe. I believe that why is the most important question we can ask. I believe that because I said so is the most destructive answer anyone could give.
So that is a little snippet of her video that she made on Blasphemy Day. Now, Burning the Bible on Blasphemy Day, her video, which is on the channel Born Without Religion, has 53,000 views. So we're going to help her jump that up to 30 million.
I think your math is a little off.
No, I knew you'd look at me that way. We're going to help her jump that up to 30 million. What do you think, Ziggy?
I mean, every little bit helps, I guess.
Anyways, we'll have her next week. We'll talk about numbers then, right? So, on future shows, we will also bring back our friend Bruce Garenzer. He was an evangelical pastor.
We talked to him.
For years.
Well, no, not last year, but in 2016 on Christmas Eve.
And,
Right.
and
I believe it was
evangelical-
Christmas Day we talked to him.
No, we were going to talk to him on Christmas Day this year. I thought it was Christmas Eve. Was it Christmas Day?
It was going to be Christmas Eve this year. Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Okay,
Yes,
so-
you're right. It was Christmas Day last year. It's Christmas Eve this year. I'm
Yeah,
all backwards.
There's a quick flash
Well,
of his Bruce's.
We haven't had Christmas Eve this year. I'm all fucking confused.
All right. So Bruce,
Uh-huh.
evangelical pastor for 35 years, whatever, something like that. And then he lost his religion. He became an atheist. He started thinking for himself. And we talked to him about what it's like now being an agnostic atheist and writing a blog.
And that'll be
Dude.
coming up in the next couple of weeks, right?
I think what he does is help other pastors who want to leave the flock. I don't know. We got to talk to him.
We'll talk to
And
him.
guess who else we have coming up in future weeks?
Who?
Probably in 2 to 3 weeks. We haven't set a firm date yet, but it will be by end of this month or early February. Is Christine Young.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Who is Christine Young?
she's
Tell
an
us.
immense talent. There's a couple of pictures of her that I'm just very impressed by Christine. She's quirky. She's different. She's like unlike anything you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going on tour with the Damned. She's opening up for the Damned in Europe.
That's exciting.
In England
I do love the Damned.
in February next month.
We saw the Damned last year.
Damn right he loves the damned.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, can I mention that Christine Young, our future guest, cut a duet with David Bowie?
You're so loud.
She
I'm
played.
just gonna
She
have my
there's a
headphones.
great video of her on the Late Late Show with Dave Grohl drumming for her. She performs I think a lot of her songs with Dave on drums, and uses Tony Visconti, which is David Bowie's producer, on her albums as well. So we got to talk to her and catch up with her
There we go.
on all the facts. Make sure I got them right because maybe I didn't, and just what's going on with Christine Young.
We'll let her. We'll let
Fascinating.
her tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then shortly here in just a few minutes, we'll connect with Michelle and Stu here on this show live, the Satanic Temple, Arizona. And we'll talk to Michelle. She's also known as Mischief Madness, about alt modeling and being part of TST and kind of what's going on in her life. And we'll catch up. We have lots of other news and cool things going on, but talk to us a minute about what it was like at the Inglewood Forum, seeing the freaking Misfits back on December 30th. That was just, a week ago?
No, it was almost exactly a week ago. I didn't take any photos because I wasn't allowed to.
What was that about?
Danzig forbade everybody to bring in their, well, you could bring in your phone, but you had to seal it in this awesome like neoprene pouch that you were not supposed to open or be able to open. But several people broke into theirs and took tons of photos and video, which I believe has mostly been taken down now. But I obeyed and I didn't open it. I didn't do the punk rock thing. So,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed the show. It was really good. Danzig was kind of sick, but it was still, he sounded great and everybody
They played a
sounded
long
great.
set. They played all the songs you love. And
Yeah, they did. I was bummed because I didn't get to see Discharge. Apparently, they started really early, and we didn't make it in until, I thought the doors were at 7. The show started at 8, but apparently the show started at 7. Yes, I got you that Discharge shirt, even though I did not get to see Discharge. But we did see Alkaline Trio, and they were good. It seemed like kind of a strange fit for the Misfits. But yeah, the Misfits were great. They, they have their Halloween music, and they all came out, and they played a great set. And it was
Cool.
good. I enjoyed it a lot. I saw it from an awesome little VIP section. So it was super close. Had very clear view. It was probably the most clear it's ever been because the other 2 times I saw them, the first time we were in the pit area and being crushed alive, and I could barely see anything, but it was amazing. I was
at Riot Fest.
yeah, it depended on when the people around me would jump up, they would lift me with them. so
Oh,
then I could
yeah,
see
I
for a
gotcha.
second.
Yeah. Ever been at one
After
of
all
those
those
shows?
people having
Yeah.
the anxiety panic attacks were carried out.
Ever been at one of those shows where you mash together so much, man? I mean, the person
Yeah.
behind you, jumps and you
Well, Hatebreed.
Yeah.
Hatebreed. I mean, they were selling those awesome shirts at Alright Fest. It said, like, I survived the Hatebreed pit. Because Hatebreed pits are scary. I've gotten sucked into a couple of those.
obviously some pits broke out at Misfits.
Oh, there were two.
Yeah.
I had perfect view of both of them. One was in the GA and one was in the pit. Because they had a pit section and they had GA. GA was behind the pit. They were actually, like, sectioned off. So there's a pit going here and then a pit going here. It looked
Yeah.
pretty brutal.
Cool.
We're in LA, so those are
Well,
punks.
and-
I know how to.
And then
mosh.
this arrived in my lap for the pagan holiday season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and-
went to a cool record store called, I think, Highline Records in
Swedish
LA.
death metal.
And got you a couple of couple of books about death metal.
Yeah. And then what we're released to now is Azagal. Now,
Uh-huh.
this is, of course, a band from Finland.
Yes.
My favorite country at the moment for metal.
Mm-hmm.
And this book is all about Finnish metal. It's called The Devil's Cradle.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
did not buy him that book. I don't know where
The
it came
Devil's
from.
Cradle, Finnish black metal.
Yes.
Yeah, it covers a whole book. Can you believe Finnish
Uh-huh,
black metal?
I can totally
and
believe it.
I'm sure we could do a part 2 to that book. I mean, there's just so much great black metal from Finland.
Yeah. Yeah, there is.
The band in the background is Azagal.
Cool.
Finnish. Let's talk about Finnish
was-
bands that we've had on this show.
Okay.
Okay, Impaled Nazarene,
Yes.
Lordy, and of course we showed pictures.
Did Lordy come on the show, or did you do a pre-interview? I know you went to
Yeah,
the concert.
but also
and met him there.
Archgoat,
Yes.
and we talked about others as well.
Because I never got to talk to
Sargeist.
Lordy.
Yeah.
You did all the Lordy stuff without me.
Yeah, that was a taped interview that we aired.
Yeah. I had
Lordy.
a show.
Selfish.
I had a show. I was performing somewhere. Oh, that was when that you missed. That was when I was Spider-Man. You
What does
missed
this
me
remind
being
you of,
Spider-Man.
Say Finland.
Finland.
Yes.
What does this remind you of? Say Finland. Okay, Finland.
We support our Finnish black metal friends, and Lordy too.
He's
'cause,
going through a Finnish phase right now. A lot of Finnish documentaries
Fin.
going on in our house about metal.
it's a shape of Finns to come. I'm telling you.
I
All right.
stayed home and watched. I was sick this week, so I watched some really crappy B movies, like Microwave Massacre.
Now let's talk about Microwave Massacre, a wonderful '80s showpiece
It's not good at
in
all.
which the hero of the movie.
The hero of the movie is the guy that voiced Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
I'm never watching that the same.
Frosty the Snowman voiceover guy.
Ziggy, have you seen Microwave Massacre?
I've never even heard of it, honestly.
Okay, so this guy is sick of his wife cooking like these fancy meals, and all he wants is a bologna sandwich. And she's making all these like fancy things that he can't pronounce, and it drives him to the edge to kill her and start eating her, like cannibalism. And then he runs out of food, so he keeps her head in the fridge, and then he brings home other girls and like has really weird sex with them, and then kills them and eats them. But it's really bad.
I feel like that sounds like the polar opposite of the lighthearted, fun-loving anime Food Wars. That is
Possibly. There's like a scene where he has a lady laying down naked and is like smearing like with a giant knife mayonnaise on her, and she's laying on a giant piece of bread.
actually, it sounds like it might have the same amount of nudity as Food Wars.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
got
it
a
does.
lot of
It's got
nudity.
nudity and it's got gore.
Really
it's got-
bad gore.
All right, so
Like,
for
Low
clarification,
trauma gore. It's
he
bad.
cuts off body parts, puts them in the microwave, and
He
then
has a
eats
giant microwave.
because he likes making sandwiches out of these. Yeah.
Well, and the best part is he like wraps all the remaining body parts in foil and stores them in the fridge.
Now, okay,
It's, like,
okay.
Stupid.
Everyone in the studio, please, eyes on this magazine, because we know that Watain has just released Trident Wolf Eclipse, which is their sixth
Oh
full
yeah,
length
we
EP,
were doing that
LP.
countdown.
Yeah, and so the new LP is out.
Did you
Trident
get yours
Wolf-
yet?
No, I get it Tuesday.
Oh, he pre-ordered it.
So, of course, we're on the cover of
Yeah.
Zero Tolerance magazine, the best British metal magazine ever,
Mm-hmm.
and that means worldwide. Really, is what that means. And so, yeah, there's the imagery in the back. We are all Watain fans here. We're very excited about them actually coming back to America
I like how he said "we are all" and pointed at himself.
on their tour.
We are all.
Ziggy, they will be in town
Watching's
in
great.
March here in Dallas, but
Uh-huh.
it's a spring tour across the United
I
States.
know. Are you going?
I'm have to work out something to go. Yeah. All right. So let's bring on our guests, Janie / you know who they are. It's Michelle Shortt and Stu Haan. Am I saying that right? Stu?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
I don't know.
And they're with the Satanic Temple in Arizona. So we want to connect with them.
Let's connect with them.
Remember, Satan doesn't want you. Boo. Hello. Hello. Hi, Michelle.
How are you?
Hey, good. Hey,
Hey, hi, Stu.
Hi.
Stu is there. Hi, Stu.
Hello.
Hello.
Man, we're glad to talk to you, and we're very proud of the fact that you guys bring up TST, the Satanic Temple in Arizona, for all of us Satanists, which really just means that we're atheists who enjoy the image of a rebel as kind of our somewhat of a guiding principle.
Definitely, yeah. We are proud to be the adversaries. We're proud to take on a role which most people, like, not that they don't want to, it's just, they're not able to, they have restrictions, because of their jobs, because of their families. Like, a lot of people cannot live as comfortable outed Satanists without some fear of retribution. So the fact that both, Stu and myself, we go by our given names. We don't use aliases, and we're proud to be able to be that adversary that stands up to arbitrary authority, especially here in Arizona. We find no shortage of things to do here in Arizona.
And isn't it ironic that we live in a country of freedom, they say, and yet, like you just said, Michelle, many people have trouble really being themselves in a free and open way. And it's not just Satanists, is it?
No, I mean, even atheists have backlash when they come out, so to speak. And I think that has to do with the culture of puritanical values, and being different is shunned. Being unique is shunned. The way I see it, it's kind of a celebration of mediocrity that we live by in general. And everything different is kind of looked down upon.
It is. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, I was just about to say, like, the witch, it was once like, a figure of evil has now come back. It's like, being celebrated now as like the liberated woman. So even like certain terms that meant something before are kind of being redefined by people now. So
I think also the whole concept of good and evil is kind of turned around when you see all these people claiming righteousness, doing all these horrible things, rapist priests,
Yes.
corrupt politicians, all the stuff that you see every day, and all in the name of righteousness. I think people are kind of seeing it for what it is, and the hypocrisy, and kind of tired of it and running the other way.
One thing I hope that we can trust in Americans about is that they despise hypocrisy. And, I think that you're touching on it, and you've mentioned all these recent events, and in a funny way, maybe right now is the best time to be an atheist or to be an out Satanist, because Christians, I think, are embarrassing themselves.
Oh, that's for sure. And a lot of this, you got to ask yourself whether these people really are Christians. I mean, especially, I don't want to get too much into politics, but, you see Donald Trump misquoting. He can't even, properly quote the Bible. And it's become a political party more than an actual religion. And I think that's really, really off-putting to people, as it should be.
And I have, I kind of, being as an outsider, you watch these evangelical groups infighting amongst themselves. There's the sect of evangelicals that, do not feel that, Donald Trump is, the right candidate to, lead America back to the path of righteousness. And then you have the other sect that does. So it's kind of like, they're at odds with each other almost. And as Stu said, religion has become politicized, and it's really like, you just see that they use the title of religion to push forth their own agenda, even though it contradicts what their scriptures tell them.
Yes, indeed.
I think from our perspective too, every time you see a religious liberty bill pushed, it means someone's about to lose their rights. And I think that's becoming fairly obvious and clear to people. And that's another thing that's very off-putting.
Yeah, I agree, man. So this was a couple years ago, I believe, Phoenix City Council, you were able to get them to really see what they were doing, and that is promoting a religion in their invocations before each formal meeting, right? So,
and the thing about that is it's not just Phoenix. When we first started this, we thought that was unique, and then it's about 2 years later or a year and a half later, we're finding that that system is pretty much everywhere. I mean, it's nationwide, and there's different various systems by which they do it. But what seems to be very clear is that it's all revolving around the Judeo-Christian faith. And we're kind of, I don't know if I want to say the word exposing it, but kind of drawing attention to the fact that this is what we call religious privilege. This is potentially violations of the Establishment Clause nationwide. Sure.
Yeah, we're a country of plurality, but no one seems to understand that word.
Plurality or secularism. I mean, it's both, and it's that whole concept of all or nothing. You can promote all religions or don't have religion in a government system. Yeah. And that's being violated left and right. And it's kind of daunting to me, actually, how often we see this happening now since we started this.
And it's not like the Satanic Temple asks for any special privileges. When we put forth our request for an invocation, we just wanted to be included. We felt that, to support, religious plurality, we're trying to, test them to see if that would, that was truly the case.
Sure.
So, when we come, they take it as an attack on their faith, as if we're trying to take away their right to pray, which, in a perfect world, yes, government would be secular, but in the world that we have, if that's not the case, then, religious plurality must be enforced.
And the whole persecution syndrome is bizarre to me, where it's, if they're not getting 100% of the way, 100% of the time, they call that they're being persecuted. Yeah. And the cognitive dissonance of saying, look what the Satanists did. Now we had to get rid of public prayer because of them. It's like, we never asked for that. You guys did that to yourselves.
Right.
So you can't look what you made me do and turn the bus around.
That's right.
and blame us for it when all we wanted to do was have the same rights.
That's right. They put themselves in that position. It wasn't anything you did or TST did,
Not at all. And it's not just us, but can you imagine being, from another religion and throwing your hat in there and then this happening? It wouldn't go well. But when they do it to us, they think they're doing something heroic or virtuous, but it still draws the point. And to us, being that scapegoat is kind of part of being a Satanist. Like, we know we're going to take that heat and we're willing to do it.
Yeah, we are willing. And I like it when Christians claim to be persecuted like Jesus. Well, hold on. He was nailed to a cross and killed. Don't tell me you're acting like Jesus. I don't know. I just laugh about that.
When, they have the majority of religious holidays and, that's what gets acknowledged and it's on our money and it's in our Pledge of Allegiance and it's everywhere. They're the persecuted
but
ones.
It's not enough, and I love it. If you watch the city council video, actually, Lucian Greaves, the co-founder and spokesperson of the Satanic Temple, he made a video that was just kind of like the best of the city council meeting. It's about 7 minutes long from the 6-hour meeting. And you'll see people quoting the First Amendment and then saying, because of this, they shouldn't be able to speak. And I'm going, how are they drawing these conclusions? Like, what is,
right.
Like, what is the logic, their path they're going down to get there? Right.
And Stu, you're a lawyer. So obviously you see the fallacy in them trying to connect the dots there.
They're not connecting the dots.
They're not. Right.
And what's bothersome about that, it's not, it's not just the public, but it's our elected officials who swear an oath to uphold the Constitution. They don't even understand extremely basic parts of it.
Right.
The First Amendment, for instance.
Don't you have the feeling sometimes that everyone in America should go to law school? Or
at least have some kind of civics class or something. I mean, what's wrong here? What's missing?
Maybe that's a good point. Maybe we just need a nationwide civics class.
Isn't that a requirement for high school?
Oh, yeah. I think they used to call it social studies. I don't know what the hell it is now.
I had government. That's what it was called. It was like government class, and you learn how do your taxes and stuff like that. Like, you know.
Oh, I never had that, but that sounds nice. I would have fucked that up then. But also, you know, how weak is your faith, or we're a threat to you?
Correct. You know? Yes. This is what drives me crazy is they sound so desperate all the time. This means they have ultimate inner doubt about their own beliefs.
And I told in the media a million times, I'm like, Michelle's 5'2". You're going to be okay.
So, okay. Go ahead, Michelle. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's just one thing that does get to me, though. It's like, you know, they do virtue signaling constantly. Like, you know, well, churches, you know, we do this and we have charities and we help the homeless and we do this for kids. What do you Satanists do? And, you know, it's like, you know, granted, yes, we are a new organization. We're just barely starting up, like grassroots, you know, movements throughout the country. But, you know, the times that we do try to do, you know, community outreach and, like, you know, charitable works, they always get questioned. They always get doubted.
They try to stop us, and then they're like, what are you guys doing? It's like, well, we do a lot more if it wasn't for you assholes.
Yeah, like, they would constantly put roadblocks, you know, hey, we want to have an after-school Satan club, you know, to, you know, teach kids, like, reason and rationality. And, you know, then they think that we're going to, you know, do something dreadful, and it's just part of a bigger scheme to deceive them. So it's, you know, it's kind of one of those things where they try to shove it in our face that we do nothing, but at every turn they try to stop us from proving otherwise.
And isn't that funny compared to Satanists who we just want to be able to express our belief / non-belief, and we certainly respect your ability to express yours as well. We're not going to try and clamp down on anyone who wants to express something. We understand that you have freedom to rebel, complain, speak up. We just want the same.
I think what the Bible did, as far as what Satan is to a lot of Christians, the built-in thing in the Bible that Satan was a great liar. Oh, you know, that they can easily just say, oh, you're always lying no matter what you're saying. And I think that was kind of a brilliant thing they did in the Bible to control people, where it's like anytime someone chooses a different path, obviously someone's lying to them.
Yep.
And that's ironic also.
Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you, first off, we're glad you guys met with Rose from our Dallas TST group. And I know that was fairly recently, and we really love Rose. She's part of our TST here. Mm-hmm. And there's a great picture of you guys with Lucian on the on Michelle. It's on your Twitter page, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great shot.
Rose is lovely. I casted her in our little performance as a nun who was accused of witchcraft.
Yeah. and I'm sorry, Michelle, were you going to say something?
Oh, just having her here was super great. I mean, you know, she came from Dallas, and then we had a bunch of other chapter heads from, you know, different parts of the country come, and, you know, it was just a wonderful time to have, you know, not only other chapter heads, but our co-founder, Lucian Greaves, you know, in this podunk little city of Bisbee, Arizona. Mm-hmm. It's such a quaint little town, and, you know, you wouldn't anticipate, like, you know, a huge satanic gathering to occur there, but it did, just because, you know, we have a lot of people who, you know, love us there and support us, and, you know, the quarry, the owner, where we had the event, you know, she's a member, so it was great to have Lucian here. And then a few days after that, he had an oral presentation for the Humanist Society of Greater Phoenix, and, you know, he did his lecture, and a lot of locals got to meet him, and it was just, you know, it really, like, sparked up a lot more interest and inspired people, and it was a great time.
And of course, we enjoyed the lovely Greg Stevens, who was also here.
Oh, was he? Okay, all right. Well, hails to Greg too, and what a great guy he is as well.
Oh yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I remember looking at the pictures, and I just remember Rose. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't.
Well, and we had Rose come on the show right afterwards, and she was talking about it.
Well, you missed out then, because Greg was in nothing but booty shorts, little angel wings, and sparkle body paint.
That's our Greg. We love him. Hails to Greg and to Rose. And I got to tell you, Michelle, so kind of the way I found out about you is I picked up this MMM magazine. And I've got it in my hand here. I'm actually showing it. So And then there's this cool article inside, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. There's this TST symbol here. Hey, who is this Mischief Madness? And I read the whole thing, and I was super fascinated. And I'm glad that we finally got to connect here. So Michelle is an alt model, and there's a funny quote in this article, JD, where she says, I'm sick and tired of doing these shoots out in the desert. And I was thinking to myself, I understand totally. We've been to Phoenix a few times recently, and that you like going to higher elevations now because there's more trees or something like that. Maybe I'm misquoting you, but
yeah. Well, I'm technically a former alt model, I guess you could say. I haven't done a photo shoot in about a year, and it kind of lost my lust for it. It was a fun thing while it lasted. I enjoyed putting out good photos, and that article was actually it was requested on behalf of the editor. He wanted to feature me and my work with TST, and Stu was also in that photo shoot. It was a really cool day that we got to collaborate together on this TST inspired article. So
cool.
Yeah, I mean, Stu's an alt model on the side, I guess you could.
Yeah, that made me very self-conscious.
He was so funny.
That's funny.
But it was a good time, and I don't think MMM magazine, it changed its name. It's been going through some changes, so MMM doesn't exist anymore.
That was kind of your last photo shoot, wasn't it?
That was one of the last few. Yeah.
I remember that was the day you told me that you were kind of done with the whole thing, and I was kind of shocked by it actually, because it was kind of like your whole alter ego,
Yeah. It was a closing of one chapter, and then knowing that TST was only gonna get bigger, and I was gonna get more involved. I was ready to make that change, and I've been so much happier since then. Like my work with TST, I'm behind the scenes now. Like I'm not really like in front of the camera. Like I love to work on organizing and motivating and letting other people take the spotlight. So it's been a healthy change, I think.
Cool. Well, I hope we can cross paths with you guys live one day. And
I hope
I
so.
fully intend. I've actually talked to a couple of the chapter heads down there in Texas, in Austin as well, and I want to visit Greg. Greg and I work together in National Council, so I talk to him pretty frequently. But I'd love to go down there. I think you guys have a good growing chapter, and I like kind of having sister chapters. I've been to Denver, and I think Dallas is next.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And here's the other thing, Michelle, that we kind of bond on, and that is your love of metal.
Oh, we're definitely very close on that one. I can talk your ear off about metal. Like, what do you like? What are your genres that you're into?
Black metal. Yeah.
Why am I not shocked?
So yeah, we're the Corpsepaint show. So yeah, we're into black metal. So, but in this article, you reference Whitechapel. I guess they're a favorite, and man, it's just cool to have a metalhead, in TST too. So
definitely, yeah. I got my tickets for Cradle of Filth. They're on tour soon, and Septic Flesh is on tour as well. Septic is like one of my favorites, like symphonic metal. That's where it's at, man. Just when it's set, like the orchestra, and Flesh God Apocalypse as well, like the organ that they have on display. It's like, it looks like it's made out of bones and skull. Love it.
All right, so you're cool with metal having a little bit of keyboards. I respect that. And Janie Slash, no, I do. Look, Janie Slash and I saw Flesh God Apocalypse
that was a few years ago.
A couple years ago here in Dallas.
It was more than a couple. It was a while ago.
And
they
wow,
were great.
I mean, what a different sounding band, because they throw in a touch of, I don't know, can I say classical or
yeah, a little bit
of operatic vocals?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Well,
I love it.
But we were just announcing also, and obviously we love Septic Flesh. They're coming here to Dallas as well.
Yes.
But our two I've kind of had my eye on recently are the Watain. They're on tour.
Yeah.
Of course, and then Dark Funeral, Another Love, and so hey, check out some of the back episodes of our show, because we've had some great Scandinavian and Nordic metal bands on as guests. You would like it all, Michelle.
Sweet, dude.
I've got my metal band's got an album coming out this year and a music video.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be your jam. We're called Scar Eater. It's more of a hardcore band.
We're totally into that.
And our music video was actually directed by William Morrison, who was in Skinny Puppy. He did Guar videos and Fear Factory videos.
Nice.
And he's also one of the National Council in the Satanic Temple. That's how I met him, and he ended up coming out here and filming our video. So we're excited for that to come out soon.
Very neat. Yeah, totally cool. Is he from LA or? He's
originally from Canada, but he lived in LA and he actually just moved to Tucson.
No kidding. Well, when you were talking about Bisbee, is that right near Phoenix?
No, it's right near Mexico. Actually, it's very south.
South, okay.
But it's known, if you look it up, it's known as one of the most, like one of the best small towns in America kind of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like the 1970s when you go down there, like it hasn't changed. It's one of my favorite places in the world. All the hotels are in one square block and all the cool bars. And it's an artsy community, so they were friendly having us. So we just decided to do our thing down there.
Does that sound like Marfa?
A little bit.
Kind of sounds like.
My friend Renee runs the ghost tour there.
In Bisbee?
Oh, no kidding.
The old Bisbee ghost tour. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, Magic. There's a guy who goes by Magic Kenny who owns a seance room down there, and I think he's involved in some of that stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that.
She owns like 2 or 3 hearses, I think. And then, she does the
Sounds like
tour.
Bisbee.
Yeah.
Next year.
All right.
Next year, you guys are coming, right? Because we're doing an annual thing in Bisbee every November. So
yeah,
you guys are welcome to come to the next one.
Man,
yeah,
that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's make plans for that, Jamie.
I love Arizona. I love
Yeah.
going there. We go to Arizona usually in the spring for a horror movie convention. We go to Scottsdale.
Mad
Yeah.
Monster?
Oh, yeah.
Mad Monster. Yeah, we go to Mad Monster every year.
Well, I will be suing Scottsdale soon.
Yeah,
Oh,
Bill.
okay. I'm going to tell everyone you're my
cool.
friend.
Segue.
That's totally cool. Yeah.
I'm going to name drop you a lot.
Oh, good.
Stu. Hey, that's totally cool. All right, so now hardcore, punk, extreme punk, metal, all of that. Let's jump back into it because, man, I'm excited also about these tours coming. And isn't it cool that, I don't know, it seems like there's a dry spell during the winter, and now all of a sudden there's these announcements of these great tours. Right, Michelle?
Definitely, man. Like, they obviously in the wintertime, like, people get into accidents. Every year there's always, like, 1 or 2 tour buses that get in a horrible accident, and it's scary, man. So, these bands are, they're doing it every single day. So, the summer, I think, is the best for tours. You got Summer Slaughter. That's like one of my favorite ones that will probably get announced in the next few months. And yeah, like, these tours are pretty freaking dope, man.
Yeah, and hey,
Psycho Las Vegas is another one.
Psycho Las Vegas, yeah.
is that punk?
No, the Psycho Las Vegas. That's a big metal show. I was going to go this year, but I wasn't able to. But one of my favorite, Merkur, was playing, and I really like her.
Hey, so Stu, when you are releasing the album for Scar Eater, you're welcome to come back on our show and let's talk about it and let's uplift it and promote it, man.
I would love to. That'd be great, actually. We're kind of a do-it-yourself thing, which seems to be pretty common nowadays. So we're doing what we can to promote it, but that would be a great opportunity. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're very welcome, man. And so, can I mention again? Do I have it right? As Scar Eater, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
We're on Spotify and all that stuff too. Our first EP.
Yeah, cool. Describe in a little more detail your sound.
We always struggle to describe ourselves as any band that I've been in. We call it post-hardcore.
Yeah.
The way I would describe it is kind of like almost a 90s version of hardcore that we're kind of doing that. We find that there's kind of a market for that. I think people miss that kind of sound. One of my inspirations is Helmet, for instance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. I don't know. I could name a bunch of other bands, but it's more. It's kind of heavy punk influence, but it's also. Our other guitarist is very thrash oriented, so we like to try to think that there's kind of something for everybody in there. We have songs that are kind of doomy as well.
Yeah. But it sounds like a lot of guitar in the front.
Yeah, chug-a-lug, a lot of chugging.
Yeah, that's cool. That's totally cool, man. All right, that's great. Ziggy, I'm sorry, did you say you had
Yeah, I kind of have a question. I don't necessarily want to get in the weeds too much, but I know that we briefly mentioned religious liberty and religious freedom laws earlier. Excuse me. And I was just wondering. I believe it's just 2 months ago that the Supreme Court heard arguments on the most recent cake case, and I was just kind of interested in your thoughts on that, if you had any.
Well, here's the thing: that they just came down very recently with a decision on one of the cake cases. There's a couple of them, and I have not been following them because I'm kind of waiting for that to sort out before I do any serious research on it. I mean, essentially, the issue is whether or not it's a protected class. That's not it's not a religious-based thing; it's a sexual orientation thing. And then the question becomes, it's one thing to deny somebody because you don't like the subject matter of the cake versus you're denying someone because of their sexual orientation, and those are two separate issues.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the decisions just came down, and I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So that's one that I'm not really sure about at this point.
The other one I think is Masterpiece, and there's no decision yet on that one, to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's my understanding too. So I'm just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
A lot of times when this stuff, there's a lot of controversy and articles and things, and I just wait until the decisions come down, and then I'm like, okay, what happened here?
Yeah, let the dust settle, and then see what the Supreme Court or any court says. Look, here's the thing. If the religious right wins and there is a protection for someone who claims my deeply held religious beliefs prohibit me from doing X, Y, or Z, what's the test of that, Stu? How do you test someone's deeply held religious belief? There's no real test.
Yeah, and that's something that Lucian Greaves and I have a conversation about pretty often. Because what's the metric? I mean, how many times do you go to church? How often do you read the Bible?
Right.
There's no real metric from it. But what's happened is that's another example of religious privilege, where when someone says deeply held religious beliefs, I think what people imagine immediately is conservative right-wing Christianity, and whatever that says is someone can just claim it.
Yeah.
And like I was saying earlier, it's a religious liberty. It's under the guise of religious liberty, but every time this happens is to discriminate or take someone else's rights away.
Yeah.
So eventually the courts are going to have to tackle that exact concept, where at what point do your deeply held religious beliefs start to hurt other people? Taking away someone's birth control on their health insurance or something. I mean, where in the Bible is that?
Yeah.
Thou shalt have a corporation that takes away birth control pills for women. How do they get from the Bible to that?
Yeah.
Is just ridiculous to us. But we're in the Satanic Temple, we're kind of using that to our advantage because we have our own deeply held religious beliefs.
Yes, we do.
And we have a case right now in the Missouri Supreme Court. The oral arguments are actually on January 23rd regarding a 3-day waiting period where in Missouri, there was only one abortion clinic in the state. There was a 3-day waiting period for an abortion, which is a horrible burden for women that either have to go twice or have to sit in a hotel for 3 days, and then they're given Christian literature on top of it.
Yeah.
So we said that that's against our deeply held religious beliefs as Satanists. So the Missouri Supreme Court is going to have a tough decision to make on this one, because they're either going to allow, these abortion clinics to essentially preach during a medical procedure, or they're going to have to give Satanists abortion on demand.
Yeah.
So that's a tough one.
What was the other event? And Michelle, you sent me some info on this on the
menstruating with Satan.
Yeah, thank you. So, Ziggy's on top of things here, and thank you, Zig. That was a good question too.
Yeah, Menstruate with Satan. It's a charity campaign that was first initiated by the Boston chapter and has been adopted by several chapters now. We had our first run last year, and it was really successful. We collected menstrual supplies, pads, tampons, cups, wipes for disadvantaged women here in Southern Arizona. And we were lucky enough to collaborate with the YWCA, and they were totally on board. And especially because, we feel that not only do disadvantaged women have a hard time getting menstrual supplies, we also wanted to stress that, you know, we're an all-inclusive organization. So when, you know, we're collecting these donations, we're also keeping in mind of our trans friends that are currently in transition who still have a menstrual cycle. So
Sure.
it was great because the YWCA was very much in support of that, and our chapter is very much for LGBT rights and inclusion. So it was just a great relationship that we started, and the Seattle chapter is currently running their own Menstruating with Satan run in their area. So yeah, I hope that all the chapters are able to do this. I think it's really good, and it's underrepresented in the media.
This poster you sent, and thank you for doing that, just reaches out and grabs me by the throat, and here's why, and I mean that in a good way. It's the YWCA and Satan, the word Satan and TST on one poster. This is the YWCA, apparently stepping up and saying, "Hey, yes, we're for helping disadvantaged women." Does this mean also donations would go to shelters?
Yeah, actually, well, the YWCA, which is, people are like, "How did you manage to get that collaboration? Aren't they a Christian organization?" Well, when I went to their website, because I guess every YWCA is in a way different. They're not all running exactly the same. Like, I might not have been as lucky in a different town.
Okay.
But here, they took the word Christian out of YWCA, so it's not Young Women's Christian Association. They changed it to community, so it's Young Women's Community Organization. And on the front page of their website, there was a rainbow flag. So
great.
I just, that was my signal. I'm like, okay, these guys are going to be friendly, and I made that decision to reach out, and I wasn't disappointed. So
yeah, good for you, Michelle. You stepped forward and you contacted them, and look what the result was. Way to go.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if the other chapters would have the same luck as I would did. Depending on who runs the Project Period campaign that they have, because that's what it goes under.
Yeah. It's
YWCA's Project Period, and then they distribute the donations to the shelters in their area. Yeah,
good. And one of the tenets of Satanism is act with compassion, and that's what you're doing. Sorry, Stu, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say that one of the interesting things that Michelle was touching on is the TST chapters are all autonomous. And there's good reason for that, because the regional differences are pretty vast. Like she said, in another city even, or in another state, they might not have had the same luck with a similar organization.
Yep.
So the way we have to do things is basically just, what does the local community need? What's the local community going to be open to? And we never know until we try it. So we have to kind of get out there when we want to get something done like that.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with, the Tucson Pride group. Like, at first when we applied to be in the parade, they didn't know who we were. And, I actually had to make a couple of calls and meet them in person to be able to get any kind of response. And I think it was just their lack of understanding of who we were and what our mission was. And we managed to develop a very good relationship with the Tucson Pride group, and we're welcome at their parades and at their events, and good. It's just nice to know that we have allies.
Yeah, you had allies, and also maybe the testimony there is there's nothing more important, nothing more powerful, I think, sometimes than a face-to-face meeting with someone, so they see that you are genuine. They can look in your eyes and see your group's not trying to harm anyone.
And that's a good point. I feel a lot of infighting with a lot of different groups or hate we get on the internet is just the internet. I find that if we actually talk to people face to face, they either come at us with curiosity or they're actually pretty cool with us. But online, I think text-based communication is kind of ruining that for everybody. And I don't mean just us, I just mean in general.
Yeah.
And I think we've kind of lost the ability to read the context and nuance in text-based communication.
Yes.
So it takes a bit to kind of pick up the phone or drive somewhere to meet somebody. You know, it's almost like a lost art. That's extremely important.
No, you're right. It is like a lost art, and I'm glad you did that, Michelle. And I think it's a lesson to all of us, all of our listeners and viewers. Is, you know, hey, you want to persuade someone or you know, befriend someone to really ally with someone, face-to-face meeting, nothing's better. Mm-hmm. So that means we're going to come out and fly to Arizona.
All right, we'll be here.
All right, so.
Yeah.
So
we'll show you guys a good time.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
So I'm still wanting to kind of see if there are any other bands on Michelle's mind at the moment that you're into or you're listening to or look at.
Oh man, I'm fucking okay. So, excuse me, the decapitated thing, man. Like they're allowed to go home back to Poland now. I'm like, you know, I was a big fan of Decapitated. There was a point in my life, you know, when I was doing alt modeling that I also had a podcast, like a music podcast, and I was doing interviews with bands. So I was lucky to interview Decapitated. It was one of my favorite interviews, cool dudes. Then I find that, you know, they were accused of kidnapping and gang raping one of the people that attended their show. I was absolutely broken. And it was rough because, you know, it's when the whole Me Too movement started, and I didn't want to, like, you know, I'm always like, believe the women, and that was like the one time where I was like, let's wait till, you know, there's more evidence that comes out. And, you know, I felt awful that, you know, I was like, you know, not as convicted as I was before, but it hit close to home, you know, having one of the bands that you would look up to, you know, be accused of such horrible things. So I'm glad that they were at least, what was it, Stu? It wasn't that the charges were dropped.
Well, yeah, it's a dismissal without prejudice.
Okay, I don't really know what that means.
That means that the case could be reopened within time limits.
Okay, like, but at least they're allowed to go home for now, right?
Yeah, well, the case is over for now. I think they're getting their passports back. But yeah, that was pretty heinous. I mean, the accusations were pretty rough. So, you know, when it's, you know, who knows? Yeah,
and then 70,000 tons of metal. Imagine if we could get like a bunch of people, you know, on a cruise ship full of, you know, 700 metal bands, and we're all sailing to the Bahamas. Yeah. Like, can we do that?
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Like,
no.
That sounds gross. I'm gonna throw up thinking about it.
Don't got your sea legs?
Yeah, no, it's unnecessary. You don't want to be trapped with everybody there.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Stu. Food, booze, metal. The whole week.
See, I think the bands start like at around noon also, and they just go all day.
Yeah.
Didn't we
No escape. No escape.
No escape. So, Janie, didn't we interview a band that was on one of those tours? And they said, yeah, the metal starts early. You know? It's like all afternoon, all night.
I don't remember.
Okay, that's all right.
Sorry.
But yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Maybe, you know, God, I don't know, in a perfect world, we'd have a TST suite and a big fun party, and it'd be all TST people, and they're with all these great metalheads.
That sounds like heaven to me, dude. I've been on a cruise ship before. It was me and my husband. We were the only ones that were under like 40 that were not accompanied by their parents, and only ones with tattoos. So we stuck out.
Sounds like a fucking nightmare.
It was. I mean, we had fun. Like we were drunk and eating and just enjoying the scene.
I'd have to be drunk.
Yeah, but
you know, we were just surrounded by like rich, uptight white people.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
So that obviously was not a metal cruise.
No, that was just a.
That was the opposite of a metal cruise.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's just imagining a metal cruise. I mean, that's my element, dude. When I'm at a show, when I'm in the pit, well, maybe not anymore. I'm getting kind of up there, but that's just my element. That's, you know, fish and water at a show.
You know what? You know what would be so neat though is you're on this cruise ship. You hit a little bit of rough water, and the whole pit just slides to the right, and then they all slide to the left.
Oh man, no.
Hey, I think we need. No, serious. We need a Scar Eater video that does that. Now, talk to your producer about that, Stu.
I want to do it in the back of a U-Haul.
Yeah.
Driving around.
Obviously, you film it. Yeah, film it in something else. But yeah, something that slides left and right, and then you show an imagery of you know, of large waves coming at you or whatever.
Put a pool in the back of a U-Haul.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Every so often, I'm kind of a news junkie. Every so often, there's a story about someone who just disappears off a cruise ship, and usually it leads to their spouse has something to do with it. And I thought there were cameras everywhere on those big ships, but I guess a couple of incidences, people have disappeared, and there wasn't any footage, and no one knows where they are.
Whenever somebody gets murdered, the first suspect is the spouse, and that's all you need to know about marriage.
They were trying to look at the propellers, and they just fell over.
I was looking at the propellers. Yeah, I was trying to do the Titanic thing from the back, and it didn't work.
What does your insurance policy look like? Yoink.
Oh man, I don't know. I think that's ripe for a horror movie theme. I don't know. Yeah.
I think they've done those on ships.
All right, so Janie / Ziggy, last chance here. I do want to say thanks to Michelle and Stu for uplifting us, making us laugh, and just, pointing out that we all have freedom in this country. Don't be afraid to speak up about it. But, man, we appreciate you too. Hails, and thank you for joining us from Arizona.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Anything
Thanks
else?
so much.
Anything else? Janie, you good? Ziggy, yep, we're all good. I'm getting thumbs up here. Really appreciate your time, guys. Hope to see you face to face soon.
Yeah.
You will.
Oh yeah.
Hail Satan.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Yeah, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So, I like talking to guests about, alternative religions and metal and funny stories. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Janie /
Yes.
Yeah, we covered your trip to Inglewood Forum. You flew out to Los Angeles and saw the Misfits. I really, really, really just am so glad you got to see them, man.
Yeah,
Who
it was
knows?
great.
It might have
I
been
had a
the
good
last time ever.
Well, I don't know. It was supposed to be the only show this year, or last year, I guess now. But it wasn't, because I did that show in Vegas like 2 days before.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, what is
I
that?
think we're bringing Azagal back, or one of the bands. Yeah. All right, so
okay, I was like,
all right,
huh?
so Janie / I got to tell you a couple of
Yes.
things. Ziggy, look, I want to point this out to you too. If you're a horror fan, you have got to watch Curse of the Demon. It's required watching.
Oh yeah, we took us through. We watched it.
Now, Curse of the Demon was filmed, get this, in 1957. Yeah.
No,
This
I know.
movie scared me. And the demon at the end rips the guy apart with his big long nails and
I'm pretty
hands.
sure he holds him like this, and then he goes like this.
Oh my God. This is a cool movie. If you're a horror fan, this is required viewing.
Yes.
The movie is Curse of the Demon. Now, let me point out something to you, Jeannie. I didn't tell you this, all right? There's
Didn't
the flyer.
tell me
for it.
what.
You can watch this right now on Netflix and a lot of sites. The
Well,
lead
yeah,
actress,
you cannot watch it on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime.
the lead actress is Peggy Cummins,
Okay.
right? She was born in Wales or
Yeah.
Ireland,
Okay.
and she died on the 29th.
Oh.
I mean, this is just something that's in the
Is that
very.
why you watched it, or did you already know
I
that?
didn't know that. I didn't know that until a couple days ago when it was announced, and she lived to be a nice long life. But there's a couple other movies she was in.
Okay.
Okay, Gun Crazy,
Okay.
which is about it's sort of like what's the movie I'm thinking of? Natural Born Killers. It's sort of like that. So Gun Crazy, she and her partner just start attacking, killing, robbing, and having
So
a
like
lot
the
of fun.
Honeymoon
This is a movie from the
Killers?
50s, man, or early 60s.
Or the Badlands.
And the other movie she was in, this is Peggy Cummins, is Meet Mr. Lucifer.
Ooh. Is
Yeah.
that like a dating
So,
show?
look, it's Peggy Cummins. I just wanted to give her a shout out.
Oh my!
We love.
Can you imagine Paul Lynde as Satan?
Meet Mr. Lucifer.
Meet
Gun
Mr.
Crazy.
Lucifer.
And if you're a horror fan, required viewing Curse of the Demon.
Curse of the Demon was
Curse of
really
the
good.
Demon,
It
yeah.
reminded me, I mean, obviously it seemed to have been an influence on Drag Me to Hell. Had a lot of similarities.
You know what? That's a good point. You mentioned that the other night.
Yeah. 'Cause it
Drag Me to Hell.
does, but I won't talk about it. Just watch it.
Okay, yeah. Curse
Just
of the
your turn
Demon.
off, you watch it.
Ziggy, I tell
It's
you, man.
better than the microwave killer murder. Microwave killer.
I got to tell you, man.
Massacre?
this is-
Massacre, thank you.
I was
The
kind of
microwave massacre. A microwave killer is about a guy who goes around and kills people's microwaves.
All right. So
I hate Toshiba.
Fuck you.
So
Why
we
can't
just
you
want
be-
to say raise our glass and honor Peggy Cummins, who made a lot of great B movies. And, you know, it's a name you don't hear about, but if you watch Curse of the Demon, you've seen her. All right. If you're in New York, you might want to check out Inconsiderate Fantasies of a Negative Acceleration. Inconsistent is what?
Inconsiderate fantasies of negative acceleration characterized by sacrifices of a non-consensual nature.
Ziggy's got you.
Okay, thank you. Now, leave that up for a second. This is a visual art
Okay.
show
Okay.
in New York. Okay, and they like stack up a whole bunch of pianos and light them on fire. This is
Ooh.
really alternative visual art.
It's very interesting.
Along with, they have this big claw that can grab your head. It is like a robot arm claw. Anyways, it looks really cool. If you're in New York, check that out.
Okay.
Inconsiderate Fantasies. So, that is so cool in my book. Now, I want to mention also someone else we lost. This is also some bad news, but his performer name was Zev.
Zev.
Yeah, Zev. We're going to show a snippet from a video of Zev. Z-E-V.
Z-E-V. Got it.
Zev.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so Z-E-V, Zev, performance artist. That's him in the middle. We lost Zev in this last week. You know, hails to Zev. Now, here's what he did. He made music with non-instruments.
That's awesome.
I think he began in the kitchen as a kid banging on pots and pans. But
Yeah, like
now,
we all did.
typically what he does in concert
awesome.
is uses metal or pieces of metal, and I'm talking about sheet metal.
So he's like a real metal
Yeah.
head.
That's right. So, and sometimes he had these long sheets of sheet metal, and he would like wave them, you know, and it would make this echoing metallic sound. Anyways, a unique artist, and on this show, we want you to think outside of the box. So we bring attention to an artist you have not heard of, Zev. Check out all his videos and music. Interesting guy. All right. We wanted to do a little quick recap of what Janie Slash and Satan have been up to
Yeah.
in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, I thought it was like a year.
Yeah, that's right. Is a recap of 2017?
The recaps of 2017. It's a
This is
year. It's called The Adventures of Janie Slash, and it was Janie and Satan. Sorry, not
Yeah.
mine.
And so it's made by
It's made by Little Spark Films. They made it for us.
Little Spark
We want
Films.
to share with you what we've done in the last year.
Let's have a look.
Just some of the
What have we
highlights.
done? Let's have a look.
This is Satan from the Corpsepaint Show. We give a big thank you to Mr. Lordy and also the tour manager.
So I am very excited to announce exclusively on the Corpsepaint Show that Satanic Panic will be on Friday, April 13th, 2018.
You heard it here.
Here we go. She is in the team round and we got her article of clothing.
Yeah, Bureau was actually one of the very first shorts we made. Back first time Dave came to the country. Yeah.
It's kind of like our Smells Like Teen Spirit. It's like, oh, you're the guys that did that.
Yeah. People there responsible. Still down.
I am Satan! Are you a follower of Satan? Are you a follower of Satan? I want to see
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Janie Slash, what were you doing with that thing through your nose?
That's called the human crazy straw.
Okay.
It's anatomy.
And you put it
Through your nose,
in your
and
head.
it comes out of your mouth. And I like to use my head when drinking. I think it's the smartest
So
way.
someone can sip through that long,
Uh-huh.
crazy straw.
Yeah, they can. Or
And it
I
goes through
drink
your
through it.
cranial cavity.
Yeah.
And, okay. Yeah.
I drink through it sometimes.
Okay. I love it.
It's weird because it has to like go down where the straw's already coming out.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I like
totally
it.
Cool. All right.
It's
Well, that's a cool little film. It's made by Little Spark Films.
Yeah, they did great.
And,
I really appreciate them making it for us. They're really talented. They do
Agreed.
photography.
Have we talked about the results of the film festival? I don't know if we've done that on the show.
I thought we did talk about it, didn't we?
So the film, it's called Anti-Christmas Carol.
We entered that
made by
48-hour
Little
film
Spark.
race.
Yeah, was voted the most
traumatic
film at the
It
festival.
will be featured on Troma Now streaming starting February. So
And of
you can
course,
check it out there.
Fatty Rage,
Fatty Rage won Scream Queen.
also known as Frankie,
Yeah.
won Scream Queen award. So yeah, they took home 2 awards.
It was
You were there,
awesome.
Ziggy. That was a fun night.
I did make a rare appearance outside of
I
my
know,
bubble.
right? I've never seen Ziggy outside of anywhere.
Look, speaking of Ziggy outside of anywhere, what do you have going on in Waco? Is now a good time to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about that. So I just recently found out that I'm going to be doing a show at True Love Bar in Waco the last Sunday of this month, January the 28th. I believe the show is starting at 8 o'clock, but I'm doing a full set. It's a lot longer.
Comedy set.
Yes, doing stand-up comedy, and it's a lot longer than I would normally do at one of my Dallas showcases. So please come out, check me out. My friend Reggie French is also on the show. He used to have a show on the network. He was part of our R&D, so he's going to be on that bill. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a long night of me being very nervous that I have to be up there for so long, but I'm really excited about it. So if you guys are not tuned in to the show and you're in the Waco area, come out and see us, because you can always catch the re-air of the show the next day on YouTube.
Of course.
That is true.
Yeah, we encourage people to go to Waco, Texas.
Go to Waco, Texas.
On the
I'm
28th.
not threatening you. This is totally made of
Oh, there's blood on that.
It's not real.
And
It's foam.
support Ziggy at, what's the name of the club again?
True Love Bar in Waco.
Love.
Heck yeah, he's doing stand-up comedy, man, a whole night.
Yay! We should
Excellent.
go. We're going to just do our show live from there.
Well, yeah.
When is that?
Okay, so this segues perfectly.
The 28th.
The
3 weeks.
28th of January. Oh, and the week before, you should go to Deadly Sins on January 20th.
Oh, speaking of that, I think we have a little flyer, which is January 20th. There it is right there. A
Deadly
lovely
Sins.
flyer made by our friend Nikki.
Yes, Nikki Arnold made it.
And
She's
it's
awesome.
January
Makes
20th.
great
That's in 2
flyers.
weeks.
Great graphics.
Is that right? 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's in a little
And-
under 2 weeks. We have a special guest performer named Rasa Embers. She's from Arizona. She just moved here about 6 months ago. She'll be bringing her machete ladder and her something she calls the torture chair. You don't want to miss it. And it's only $8, still $8.
So, I mean, that says burlesque, but really you're talking about burlesque / dangerous sideshow
we have
circus acts.
burlesque and we have dangerous sideshow acts done by trained professionals.
Yeah.
Just want to point that out. Sorry, I really like this.
Yeah,
Chainsaw juggling.
All right.
I wish.
That's right.
If you know a chainsaw juggler or you juggle chainsaws and you're reasonably priced, contact me.
Bear fighting.
Bear fighting? I don't know. That's a little risky. The bear could get loose and fight other people, and then I get sued, and that's bad.
Janie Slash.
Corpse Resurrection. All at Deadly Sins Burlesque and Sideshow.
Well, yeah, after we resurrect them, we have our way with them, but that's in the back room.
I need a necromancer.
Yeah. Hey, all right. So, Janie Slash, you know we love every movie that has the word devil in the title.
Okay, you love every movie that has the word devil in the title.
And there's a good one that is forthcoming, and we've got a trailer for it.
We've moved on to another devil movie. Okay.
Yeah. The name of this movie is Devil's Gate, and we're going to show the trailer.
Is it Italian? I feel like this is an Italian
It might be.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a giallo.
Probably.
Let's
So
take
he's
a
been
look.
watching
We want you to be aware of this movie, Devil's Gate. It looks really good. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Gate's locked. Hey, Jackson, are you in there? Just want to ask you a few questions.
Come on, get him up.
Special Agent Francis, Mr. Pritchard. I'm here investigating the disappearance of your wife and son. It's your wife's car, isn't it, Mr. Pritchard?
Hey, don't do anything stupid.
Hands on your head. Where are they, Pritchard?
They ain't here.
What the heck was that?
I'm searching this house.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. As God is my witness, I will not be responsible for what happened.
I'm checking down in the basement.
Agent Francis, I'm having a hard time reading you. You read me. Over?
What was that? You tell her to stop, all right? You tell her to come back up right now.
Care to explain what exactly you've got down there in the cage?
Whatever you choose to call that, it is evil.
That pattern. I've seen it before.
Weirdness is starting to pile up around here.
Get me out of here!
Yeah.
I was wrong. That's so not Italian.
Devil's Gate.
It
Looks
just
good,
sounds
though,
like the
doesn't it?
name of an Italian movie.
Looks totally cool. All right,
me.
so we've
I could be
got
wrong.
we got a few other things to cover, right, Ziggy? I want to make sure we don't miss anything on our list. We had a little cool article about cars in Norway.
Cars in Norway.
Yeah. Now we talked about Finland.
Okay.
Talked about Sweden.
Okay.
We talked about all of these Scandinavian Nordic countries.
Mhm.
And guess what they're doing in Norway?
What are they doing
We'll
in
show
Norway?
you. We'll show you. It'll be right
Show
here.
me.
Yeah.
Show
Norway
me.
is a model for encouraging electric car sales. Now, what do we mean? There's a picture of an electric car right there. And what Norway's doing is through incentives to car buyers, through pricing, taxes, other benefits, they're really encouraging electric car purchases and use. They make it easy on the roads, they make it easy to park, make it easy to recharge, and these cars now have longer batteries that really last, quite a while. To where even if you live remotely, you're going to be able to, be okay with charging and recharging your electric car. Anyways, I think it's just fantastic that sometimes little countries show us up on what's really badass in the world. And that is trying to reduce carbon emissions and have electric cars. We're slow to the start in this country. And Norway is way ahead of other countries. Denmark's the second one in terms of electric car use. I just found it fascinating.
Yeah.
Norway leads the world
Yeah, that's awesome.
in electric car sales and use. And they know how to do it. They simply encourage,
But sometimes people just need a little bit of encouragement and incentives.
they need they
to be
provide the
pushed
incentives.
along. Yeah.
Now, did I mention to you that Wattain's new album is out?
Yes. And it's coming to our house on Tuesday.
Trident Wolf Eclipse. Yeah, and there it is right there. Wattain's new album is out.
That's exciting.
And then they jump on a plane, come over to North America, and start touring the States as well as Mexico, and I think they hit Canada too.
That's awesome.
So,
Did you know that I'm doing a show on Sunday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It's at High and Tight.
I'm at High and Tight Barbershop doing the Hitchcock show. All the routines are based off of Alfred Hitchcock movies.
And the movie you're basing your burlesque routine on is
Psycho.
Oh, I thought you were going as the Rope from Rope.
I was gonna go as Vertigo from Vertigo and just be like, whoa, freak
Spin
out.
around.
Yeah, and spin around for a whole routine. But yeah, I didn't think that would make much of a routine.
You are going as Mount Rushmore.
That's right.
We tried to work out the giant plane from North by Northwest. But that just seemed like too much.
Hey,
Just gonna have it chase me and strip my clothes off while I run across the stage, being chased by like a little plane.
now, Ziggy, correct me if I'm wrong. I know we got a couple other things on our list there, but did we show a snippet from Christine Young?
We have not yet.
But we have 2 cool videos from Christine Young, a
Not
future
one,
guest.
2.
Yeah, and we're going to show a snippet from both so you can see how wonderful and talented this artist is. And she'll be a guest of ours.
She is wonderful and talented.
Yeah, the
She's
next
got a beautiful voice.
couple weeks or so. Yeah. All right, this is Christine Young. Christine Young. So, have I made it clear I have a semi-crush on Christine Young? That song is called The Devil Made Me. I love it. Thank you, Christine Young. Now, we have a lot of cool pictures to show you and catch up on, including a Krampus event, some concert footage, Janie Slash, and maybe a surprise picture of one of her pets in there.
One of my pets.
But
which one? I have 8.
I know, you do. Can we segue to another cool video from Christine Young and just show a snippet of it?
Let's do it.
That first one is called The Devil Made Me.
Sorry, I've been sick. That's about as loud as I get. I'm like, yeah. I am not going to use the word quirky to describe her. What do you think of it, Janie Slash? She's quirky. But he's not using that word because that's what I said.
No, look. Anyways, she's coming soon on our show. I'm real excited about that. But we're going to talk to her about opening for The Damned on their brand new tour starting in February. They have a new album out, or about to be out too. And I think that tour is in support of it. So Christine Young, man, makes some great music, some great noise, some great craziness, and like it a lot. All right. So while we were on a short break, we went to a cool Krampus event.
We did. Our friends at the Vampire Court of Dallas put on a Krampus event, and it was amazing. They did a great job. It's a great time.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So who's that on the left?
That's Rain.
Yeah,
She's
that's
been on
Rain.
the show a couple times.
She's in your troupe.
She is, yes. She's also
And-
the queen of the Vampire Court. She does a great job. They raised a lot of money for charity.
And so that's
a lot of toys.
That is our good friend Dan Baker on the right. He is the head of what local
the head of
Krampus?
Santa Claus.
And he's carrying that.
He's a part of the. He helps run the Krampus Society.
Ziggy, can you see that? He has the head of Santa.
It was the frozen head of Santa.
That explains why he didn't show up this year.
Yeah.
I was a little sore about that.
Yeah.
He was like, I have the head of your leader. And we were like, oh.
He would scare
poor
kids with that.
Santa.
You know? I mean, what? Yeah. So cool. All right. And, all right, there's the whole gang. That's a lot of our friends.
That's a lot of people.
That's Janie Slash in the middle, and I know you performed that night as Dead Girl Circus.
With the Dead Girl
Stacy
Circus.
is
Stacy's on the other side of Fatty Rage. And then you got
Hey.
Cookie, and you got Tony, and then you got our friends from Little Spark Films there.
right. The two, those two on the
those
left
two.
are Little Spark Films.
Well, it's our left there, right?
Yeah, those two right there. Little Spark
Yeah.
Films.
That's Catalina and Joe.
Heck yeah.
From
I
Little
know we got
Spark.
some more pictures. That's
And we will be at Frightmare with Little Spark Films.
Yeah, in
Which
May.
is the first weekend of May. So everybody should get their tickets now because tickets go up tomorrow for Texas Frightmare weekend. So make sure to purchase your tickets now or else you'll have to pay more.
All right. What's happening here, Janie
She
Slash?
was helping me with my zipper.
Yeah, she was taking
Good
down-
friends
too
always help friends
high?
remove clothing.
It was
with
too high.
Teeth. Yes.
Yeah, your zipper was stuck too high.
It was stuck. She helped me.
She was wanting to unzip you.
Always good friends help each other with zippers.
That's right, with their teeth
With their teeth. That's
Or-
a true friend right there.
or mouth. All right, so I'm not sure if anyone realizes that we have pet rats, and that is a
So
little
that
named-
shark game was my Christmas present from the Vampire Queen.
the rat's name
it's like
is
Jaws with cards.
is Cenobite, and he is on top of a
She
is Cenobite
Cenobite is she.
is on top of a board game
I think she's a
called
she.
Shark Island. Don't eat our rat.
That's my Cenobite. She's a Dumbo rat. Her ears stick out on the side of her head. She's so cute. She's still little. She's still a baby. She's not even a year yet. She's like maybe 6 months.
Okay, I don't know if
Did you go to the Walk of Fame too?
Yeah, I actually have had a satanic star made on the Walk of Fame, and there it is. So this is our my pentagram Walk
Did I
of Fame
take this
star.
picture?
So Ziggy, so this is my pentagram Walk of Fame star
Okay, you
right before
said it like 4 times.
right
where
before
was
they
that?
have written the word Satan in there.
Okay, whatever.
And,
So I would ask what movie you had been in, but it's Hollywood, so all of them.
Devil's Gate.
Well, you know, I was in Hollywood this last week.
You saw the
Last
real
week.
Hollywood Walk
And
of
it was
Fame.
on the Walk of Fame, and you could pay $5 to get your name put on a star. I
Mhm.
mean, they let you take a picture of it, and then they delete it off, and they let someone else pay $5. But
So it's
you know,
like a
for
temporary-
minute- for a minute, you're famous. It's really, literally, your 5 seconds of fame.
Do you know that, Ziggy? You get your name on a Hollywood star for a minute.
Yeah, I honestly had never heard that before. That is really weird.
I don't know if it's legal, but
Um,
there was a guy that was like, "We could put your name on a star." Also,
Wait, cash only.
They're the weirdest like street people because like you walked by, they had street karaoke, which I was
Street
really relieved Satan
Look.
wasn't with me at that time because he loves karaoke.
Now,
So yeah, not only now it's not in the club anymore; it's out on the streets where you can hear people badly sing.
okay,
You can't get away from it.
You two have heard my rant about the sharing economy we're in, and my idea was to put a drum set on every corner. 'Cause
No.
we just share.
No.
Right. And
No.
so what they have in California, in L.A., anyway, Ziggy, is street corner karaoke.
I like how he just took what I said and just repeated it like it was his new thing.
That's what I do.
You weren't even there.
That's what I
You were elsewhere. I don't know what you were doing. You were not on the street with me.
I'll tell you what I
I
was
actually
doing.
have a picture of what he was doing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh!
That
Okay.
sounds about right.
So
that is also Cenobite. Yeah,
that-
that's true. He was at home taking selfies with the rats.
Yeah, that's Satan with our pet rat in the hoodie.
Cenobite.
Cenobite.
That's
Cenobite.
not Nightbringer. It's Cenobite.
Yeah.
Poor Cenobite.
And of course, you know, it's an awkward photo with the ceiling fan up there. But
I-
but this is our friendly rat who likes to crawl on your neck.
She's sweet. They all do.
Yeah.
I was in LA eating a ice cream burrito. So. It's a cotton candy. They take cotton candy and they put like a scoop of ice cream in it and some type of cereal and they roll it up and they cut it in half and eat it like a burrito. It's pretty amazing.
Totally cool.
Monsters.
And I had a beer float. It was like a chocolate stout with a scoop of Jameson ice cream in it. I left that place very happy.
Okay, what other pictures
So
we got,
much
Ziggy?
ice cream.
We have this of The Shining.
Okay,
Oh.
so The Shining, they're just called Shining. They're from Norway.
Mhm.
And this is, or I apologize, this is the Swedish band. And
Yes.
so we support Shining, and they're new album is called X. It's 10. It's their 10th studio album.
I love it when they call it by the number of the album.
Yeah, so that's kind of the box set. You get a keychain as well, and so not only Wattain's new album.
You get a keychain?
Not only
Did you buy it?
No, I didn't buy it.
Oh,
Okay.
so I got excited. I like
All right.
keychains.
So Shining as well as Wattain, and we love Shining too, man. He's come by Dallas twice.
You've
last year.
been, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you went. I didn't get to go. I
Yeah,
think I
he's
had a
a-
gig.
His name is Nicholas.
I gig a lot.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
Love
Nicholas is
Shining.
cool.
All right. So
I heard those shows are very intense.
did we cover all the pictures? All right, and I know we got some other cool stuff. Oh
What we
yeah,
got?
concert footage.
Oh, is it that time again?
Yes, it is.
I didn't send you a copy of my feet from California. I don't think you wanted them.
That's
anyway.
okay, but let me just tell you about. Let me set this up. All right, here's some concert footage from the Alice Cooper tribute band called Dallas
Oh,
Cooper.
Yeah, he did. He was Frankenstein for Feed My Frankenstein.
Yeah, I briefly got on stage with them, just walking around on stilts.
It's
as
awesome.
Frankenstein.
Hearing part of the
And-
Dallas Cooper band. So
Yeah,
fucking
so
rad.
Bam Bam from Scary Cherry and myself and
Oh, was Bam Bam there? You didn't tell me Bam Bam was there.
Yeah, he was there.
Oh,
He
that's
was
cool.
there. Yep. Yep. And so we have a concert footage shot of all of our feet. Yeah. Bam Bam has the bright.
I like his shoes.
Places,
Yeah. those are cool.
Yeah,
I
and then
like green.
Craig's the other foot there as well.
I like that they humor you and they actually let you take feet. And which one's the stilted-looking foot with the really wide pants? Kidding. No, it's you.
I know, it's probably me.
No, it's got to be you.
Oh
Yours
yeah,
isn't
okay,
wide.
because I'm wearing the still pants already.
Yes.
Okay, that's
why
what it
it's
is.
you.
Yeah.
You don't know your own damn shoes.
I don't, man. I got confused over that picture. Concert footage.
I don't even
You gotta
remember
know your
what I
feet.
was wearing.
All right.
I told you I was the Santa Monica Pier, right? It made me super nervous because like the whole thing was people either dancing in tiny booty shorts to like and about poorly singing to Britney Spears or preaching Jesus.
And also listening to Theory of a Dead Man.
No, there wasn't. That would have been okay. Like I could have lived through that, but like no.
She said there are a lot of street preachers.
So much street preaching, and I was walking around in my shoes with like pentagrams on them, and I was like, "Please don't hurt me, guys!" Like I was scared. I was like, "Can we leave?"
Do street preachers think anyone is listening to them? I
No,
don't
they
know.
come make you listen.
Yeah.
They get in your face. It's very scary. It was very scary. I much preferred the guy dancing and singing to Britney Spears. He did the whole album.
All right,
He was like, I'm feeling it.
Have you
Fair
seen?
enough.
So there's a video floating around.
His name was like Sexy
where,
Tight Butt Man or something.
So Kirk Cameron makes videos for youth organizations, and a lot of it is like, this is how you proselytize and this is how you evangelize. And there's footage out there of him getting shouted down when he goes to try and
do it.
just be a street preacher. It's very satisfying.
Look, we as a country want to be able to make our own decisions about things and not have it shoved down our throats, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so a quick reminder, who do we have next week? We
I
have
won't
Emily from
be
Born
here.
Without Religion. She is a third-generation non-religious person. How do I say that? A third-generation atheist.
Yeah.
And
I think
is-
that's the word you're looking for.
Yeah, so unlike us, who were all raised in religious families and then kind of found our way, she was raised non-religious. And her YouTube channel was Born Without Religion. And she is the one we showed a snippet earlier of burning the Bible on Blasphemy Day. 53,000 views, but we're going to raise it up to 30 million for her. I feel good about
I
this.
even know that many people.
I feel good about this.
Okay, I believe
All right.
in you.
So yes,
Actually, I don't believe.
we tracked her down. We tracked her down and found her, and she's been absent from YouTube for a while. So we're gonna welcome her back, and it'll be great to talk to her. That's next week.
I mean,
Emily from Born Without Religion,
Burning a Bible's pretty controversial. So
Is-
people
isn't
would
it?
get very upset.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so we'll talk to her about that.
Yeah.
All right, Ziggy, thanks a lot. Thank you very much to
Thank
you know.
you, Ziggy.
Can I make clear the
Thank you,
music
everybody.
at the beginning of our show is from Silver Tongue Devil.
Yes. that's
In
sweet.
our little montage there.
They
and,
play New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like
they
right
deserve a
down the
shout-out.
street from us.
Jenny Slash, thank you, and thank you to Michelle and Stu from
yeah,
TST
thank
Arizona.
You. We'll see you in hopefully Arizona very soon.
Sounds good. Thanks everybody, man.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Please
We'll-
stick with us. Check out all our shows on YouTube.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, the Corpsepaint Show. Every Sunday we're here live. We're going to give you 90 minutes of live, great, irreverent shit.
And also just talk about Satan and talk about movies and talk about metal and talk about Jenny Slash's weekly dose of horror.
Yeah.
Texas Fright My Weekend. I am here with Dee Wallace. Don't stare at my boobs the whole time.
Sure. I do get comments from occasionally religious fanatics.
I've seen people stop and down
wag their finger
at me for rape Satan.